This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today being Tuesday, we're doing a top 5 list, and as you've probably seen by the title of the video and the thumbnail, today I'm talking about guitar players who, whilst may not be unknown, they are not as well known as I think they should be. Underrated guitar players, basically. There's one on this list that I would wager that unless you live in this part of the world, you probably don't know about, but we'll come to him later. So yeah, underrated guitar players. What I've done is, down in the description, I put links to examples of all of these fine players playing. So go and check them out if any of them are new to you, or let me know in the comments if you already knew of some of these or even all of these guitar players. Anyway, let's get started with
Andy Latimer.
Indeed, Andy Latimer. He is the guitar player, I think they're still going, is or was the guitar player in one of my favourite 70s prog rock bands, Camel. Progressive rock can go one of two ways, I find. There's the sort of ostentatious stuff that's very, very wears its musicality on its sleeve. Listen to us and our clever use of 13 8-time signatures and unusual key changes and modulations, and it kind of hits you with that in the face. But there's the other type of progressive rock, which is just musical. It's still as complex in many cases, but it doesn't kind of wear it on its sleeve. It sneaks it in. The cleverness isn't necessarily the point of the music. The music is the point of the music, and Camel are very much in this mould. Andy Latimer is, I just think, one of the most tasteful and melodic guitar players that you're ever likely to hear. And quite often people say tasteful and melodic as a sort of code way of saying, not very fast. Andy can turn it on a bit when he needs to, but it's not the core of his style. How would I describe him? Imagine a cross between maybe David Gilmour, Mark Knopfler, a little bit of Jeff Beck thrown in, and perhaps the melodic sensibilities of Brian May. Imagine an amalgam of those different styles of playing, and you're probably somewhere close to the wonderful Mr. Latimer's playing. I'm a massive fan of that early period of Camel. The later stuff after the sort of. I'm a fan of the Pete Bardens era of the band when he was a driving force in the band. Albums like The Snow Goose, Mirage, Moon Madness, great albums. So go and check them out, and introduce yourself if you didn't already know about him to Andy Latimer. Next,
Bill Nelson.
Yeah, another one from the 70s. Would you call Bebop Deluxe a progressive rock band? I have heard them described that way. I think they're a band that defy categorisation. Bill Nelson, lead guitarist and singer with Bebop Deluxe and kind of main songwriter. What a fantastic guitar player. One of the best live albums, I think, of the 1970s, over and above things like, Live and Dangerous and UFOs, Strangers in the Night, and, Frampton Comes Alive. A load of great live albums in the 70s. It was the decade of the live album, wasn't it? I think it's a shame that that sort of trend isn't around as much anymore. But anyway, I digress. Live in the Air Age, the Bebop Deluxe live album from the 70s. Go and take a listen to a track on that called Adventures in a Yorkshire Landscape. The guy is absolutely on fire on that track there, and he's just an incredible guitar player. And Bebop Deluxe are one of those bands that they're a little bit like Marillion in a way, that they have such a maybe not the world's biggest fan base, but it's an incredibly loyal and enthusiastic fan base, and I consider myself one of that number. So there you go, yeah, Bill Nelson. If you haven't heard of him already, go and check him out via the link below. Next,
Vinnie Miller.
Yeah, Vinnie Miller. in the 1980s, the world was awash with, kind of neoclassical shredder metal guitar players. In the Yngwie Malmsteen mould, you had Yngwie himself, obviously. Dave Chastain, anyone remember him? And who else was there? Tony McAlpine and all of these guys. But the one, to me, who stood head and shoulders above all of them was Vinnie Miller. He's the only guitarist in that sort of neoclassical 80s shred kind of style that I can listen to without there being breakages, frankly. How would I describe his style of playing? It's like, imagine if somebody explained the concept of melody to Yngwie. It'd be a bit like that. He writes and plays incredibly melodic music, and it's almost like you don't notice the fact that he's playing ridiculously fast runs, because they are part of they are musically justified. It's not just flashy showing off for the sake of it. The Time Odyssey album, which I think was his first major label release, it's still in regular rotation on my in my kind of listening habits to this day. Fantastic album, tuneful and melodic and absolutely masterful shredding guitar, but as I say, melody is at the top of the list of priorities for this guy, and whatever the genre, I think good musicality will shine through, and it certainly does in the case of Vinnie Miller. So again, if you're not familiar with him, go and check him out. Next,
Jack Pearson.
Yeah, Jack Pearson. Basically, he's at Nashville, where he's based. A session guitar player. Played with loads of people, most notably the Allman Brothers Band. He can play jazz like Wes Montgomery. He can play slide like Duane Allman. He can play fiery blues like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and it just without breaking a sweat. And sometimes he'll do all of that in the one solo. And the astonishing thing is that 90% of the time when you see him, he's playing a Squier Bullet Strat as his main guitar. Not a classic vibe, not a Squier standard Strat or anything, just the lowest of the low, the cheapest of the cheap, because he likes the tone he gets from it. It's completely stock, apparently. Hasn't changed the pickups, hasn't changed the pots, hasn't changed the tuners. He just plays a Squier Bullet Strat because the tone he gets out of it is to his liking, and mine as well. It really does go to prove that it ain't the instrument, it's the player. He's a fantastic guitar player. I urge you to go and check him out. There's live clips of him with the Allman Brothers, and there's interviews with him all over YouTube. But the link I've posted down below, I think, is his own band. And, fantastic player. Just go and check him out. Jack Pearson. Next,
Andy Power.
Now this is the chap who, as I say, unless you live in this part of the world, you probably will not have heard of. I'm not talking about Andy Powers of Taylor Guitars, I believe, or does he have his own company now? And I'm not talking about Andy Powell from Wishbone Ash. Andy Power. I first saw Andy playing at a pub gig in about 1990, and it was astonishing. It was this kind of pub blues band, and he was just playing with them because he had his own band as well that he used to go out with, but he used to kind of have this little fun side project with this blues band, the Roots Rhythm and Blues All-Stars, I think they were called. And he just absolutely stole the show. He, again, one of these players, he can play country boy like Albert Lee. He can do that whole kind of country chicken picking stuff. And then he can play jazz like Tal Farlow. And then he'll go into, some shreddy kind of rock kind of thing. And, again, sometimes all in the same solo. An incredible player who I think, it's a a crying shame that he's not an international superstar. He's a massive influence on me. I got to know him back in, as I say, back in 1990, because I kept going back to this band had a residency at this pub, and I kept going back there to see them every week, and I got to know Andy and got to jam with him a few times. He is the sweetest, nicest guy, very humble about his playing, and is incredible. Well, as I say, if there's only one guitarist on this list that you go and check out, then go and check out Andy. He's not got the biggest presence on YouTube. He's got a tiny little channel, and he's not got that many videos on it. But go and check them out. I think most of the videos are from his current band, The Addiction, that are like a kind of soul, kind of funk, blues, rock kind of outfit. Well worth checking out. And if you live on Teesside in this area, and there's an opportunity to go and see any band that Andy is playing with, then you got to get yourself along there and see him. He is an incredible player, a really nice guy, and I just thought he deserved a mention on this list. So there you go. So those are the 5 guitar players that I think should be better known. Let me know what you think, if any of them are new to you, and if you think that there's guitar players on this list that aren't on this list that should be, then again, leave a comment down below. I'm always interested in hearing what you chaps think about these lists that I put together. But that is the video for today, folks. Just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, and I will leave you as I always do by saying don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 p.m. UK time. You know what happens there. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and all manner of other things. Great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.